There you have it.
Joining me now, Dr.
Who would
Jay
like to
Bhattacharya,
apologize
Stanford
to
School of
us
Medicine,
conspiracy
and
theorists
as well as
first?
Dr. Peter McCullough, epidemiologist, author of The Courage to Face COVID-19. Dr. B, let's start with you. Do you have any reforms to add to that list? I know it's a long list that we've all been compiling, but that's just a start.
I mean, I think for one, stop telling noble lies. Commit to never telling a lie, noble or otherwise, ever again. Do not use your power to manipulate human behavior. Just tell people the truth. Don't lie about natural immunity. Don't lie about whether the vaccine stops transmission. Don't lie about masks. Tell the absolute truth about all of these things based on what the science actually is saying. That would be a really good reform, I think, to start with.
Well, and I think that when we look at this, Dr. McCullough, and over the last few years, it's so overwhelmingly fraudulent what was done to the American people. You were at the receiving end of a lot of the campaigns of villainization, and it's still happening to many of the people that, all of us know across the country, to doctors and healthcare professionals who are being harassed and penalized for being right. Dr. McCullough.
It's true. Americans and physicians like myself have progressively lost their confidence in the multi-billion-dollar agency. From these erratic yet dictatorial recommendations on contagion control, vaccination, and the lack of not only data transparency, but data analyses. The CDC and FDA owed America a monthly data analysis on safety of the vaccines. They should have had external data safety monitoring boards in place. They should have external oversight in multiple aspects of the agency, and I completely agree. Everybody needs to go, and we need to install regular and rigorous oversight from Congress and the Senate.
We don't trust him.
Now, Dr. Harvey Risch, who's retiring from Yale this weekend, it's a big party for him. I'm going to be phoning in because I can't actually go, but he had some interesting comments, Dr. Bhattacharya, I'd like you to react to, about the agency's internal review that Walensky is talking about. He says that she failed to address the industry subservience and epidemiologic incompetence of what's at the heart of all of this. How could the CDC get so much science so wrong?
Come on.
With this lame apology, whatever this qualifies as, Dr. McCullough?
It's a shame that Fox is doing this.
I think a big problem was all the social distancing they were doing themselves. They weren't meeting. They were trying to do work by WebEx for a couple years. The CDC is full of wonderful and talented physician scientists, but they got into a direction that went horribly wrong. And I think we do need to do a deep post-mortem on what happened with the agency.
Well, they basically, another report that just came out on August 19th, it basically implies that the mandates that they put out based on this 2-dose vaccine were useless, that the boosters themselves wane in efficacy over time. So there is a limited value, limited in duration value of all of this. But again, people are still following, Dr. Bhattacharya, this original guidance on the vaccines as if they reduce transmission. But the CDC is implicitly admitting now
blatantly
that they don't stop transmission of the virus. That was the entire basis of the vaccine mandates, were they not? And still going on for the CMS and for healthcare facilities all over the United States and schools and colleges.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the CDC has caused untold harm by basically not actually acknowledging the scientific fact that the vaccine doesn't stop transmission. And you're absolutely right, Laura. It's the basis for all these mandates on which so many people have lost their jobs. It's absolutely destroyed confidence in public health, and I think it's also had this knock-on consequence of reducing public trust in public and other vaccines that are actually quite important for public health. I think it's a complete disaster. It's not enough just to apologize or to acknowledge wrongdoing. It's just there needs to be a fundamental overhaul.
Very much.
Dr. McCullough, we have doctors, pediatricians still badgering parents every time you go in to get a checkup. Have you given your kid a vaccination? I mean, baby could be like 6 months old, and they're pressuring these parents about these vaccinations still. I mean, that's borderline malpractice in my view.
The doctors have clearly drunk the Kool-Aid on the vaccines. I think the doctors actually are a big part of the problem of this kind of negative legacy effect we've had on the failed vaccine program. Doctors really need to come in line. The CDC has basically said a vaccinated person is completely indistinguishable from an unvaccinated person.
Right.
So, we need to drop these mandates and do a thorough review of what's happened.
Or ramp up the lawsuits.
Boom.
Okay, Dr. Bhattacharya, Dr. McCullough, two of my absolute favorites. Thank you.
Which one of y'all